Sons and Daughters is next on Granada, which is right after the news headlines.
Good afternoon. The Northwest News headlines so far today. The Court of Appeal has freed the former Tory MP for Anglesey, Keith Best. Last week he was jailed for 4 months for fraud.
Lord Lane, the Lord Chief Justice, quashed Best's prison sentence but imposed a stiffer fine, increasing it from £3,000 to £4,500. Lord Lane said the 38-year-old barrister had escaped jail by the skin of his teeth. Mr. Best was jailed last week for attempting to obtain British Telecom shares using false names. But in upholding the appeal, the Lord Chief Justice warned that city cheats would face prison in future. He said the BT prospectus gave no strong warnings about multiple applications.
The inquiry into the sinking of the Liverpool ship MV Derbyshire has been told the tragedy has caused considerable concern in the industry and the outcome may help to save lives.
44 people lost their lives when the bulk carrier sank in the South China Sea 7 years ago. 21 of them were from the northwest. But it was the loss of her sister ship, the Kowloon Bridge, last year off the Irish coast, which has prompted today's inquiry. The Seamen's and Officers' unions claim both vessels had the same structural defect, and the solicitor representing the Department of Transport has told the inquiry a crack did appear in the Derbyshire's bulkhead a year before the tragedy, but it had been repaired. The inquiry is likely to last 3 weeks, when lawyers representing relatives of the dead crewmen may seek compensation from the shipbuilders.
2 Lancaster policemen have been committed for trial, charged with the murder of a man who died in police custody. Lancaster magistrates were told 24-year-old Owen Glyn Roberts was arrested after a disturbance in Market Square, but died later. The 2 constables, 32-year-old Hamish Montgomery and Patrick Shevlin, who's 27, were bailed until their trial. A North Wales policeman has been awarded record damages of £750,000 by the High Court in London following an accident 3 years ago. 30-year-old Robert Humphreys from Old Colwyn was left brain damaged and unable to walk after being hit by a moped as he cared for an injured dog at the roadside. The Education Secretary, Kenneth Baker, is spending today touring schools on Merseyside. He's expected to face criticism from parents and teachers over his plans to charge for some school activities. But this morning he had apparently reassuring words on the subject.
All local authorities in one way or another charge for something. And the law is very obscure on this. And so what local authorities have asked me to do, particularly in view of the judgments of the Ombudsman in certain cases, is to clarify the law. And broadly, what one is trying to do is to consolidate existing practices. But it will not be for me to impose charges. It's a question of the local authority or the schools themselves working within a framework of law where we will define what is basic free education.
Now I've been joined by Fred, who will read the lesson on today's weather. Fred, what's it looking like?
The lesson. It's looking a lot better now after that dreadful start to the day. And most of us this afternoon are going to see a bit of the sun. I was out before getting some coffee, ground coffee, you know, very posh. And it was actually quite pleasant. Temperature this afternoon, well, they'll get to about 17, maybe 18 Celsius. Mid-60s Fahrenheit, that's all right. The problem is heavy showers. They could develop close to the Pennines. There could be some real good downpours. If we get caught in one, it's a real soaking. Otherwise, though, if you miss the showers, it's the most pleasant afternoon. For October, it's great.
Good old Fred, always jolly despite the showers. And finally, shoppers using the new Arndale Centre in Accrington should have no difficulty remembering where they parked their car. The 12-storey car park will have pictures of a fruit painted on the walls of each floor. The design is intended to brighten up shopping day for patrons. We'll see you at 6.